It's been a long time since I killed a Jedi. Your lightsaber blade is red! Coward!
Unfortunately, I am not a Jedi.
Welcome to KonKon's Cantina. Grab a drink, sit back, and relax.
It's here.
It's here.
Finally happening.
Oh my god.
Fantasies of years of our lives
Dude.
of what anime would be like if it was in Star Wars.
This is the time of our lives. But
Isn't that a Green Day song?
yes. What's the sitcom that Joey is like the star in
Episodes?
No, Joey and Friends. What's the
Okay.
Drake or Moray? What's the
Days of Our Lives.
is it Days
As
of Our Lives?
sands through the hourglass.
Yeah, Days
These
of Our
are the
Lives.
days of our lives.
What is up, everybody? It is your boy, it's KonKon. Back
We back
at it again.
again.
Guys, Star Wars Visions,
Stepping all over you.
it's finally here. You have to step on me because of the arm thing.
Well, I can't use them.
Well,
That's for sure.
Sorry. Guys, Star Wars Visions. Justin. As I got you, momentarily, my friend, we will be in the cantina, and you'll be able to tell the people what you're talking about. My God, was this first episode
What a way to
banger.
start it off.
Like-
what a way to start Visions off.
Do you think that starting things off like this good can be a bad thing?
Well, I would think that would depend on what follows it. And so far, I think there's been a good mixture of... There's been great, there's been mediocre, there's been some that don't like some things, but
Yeah.
I think all in all, I think I'm at episode 5 right now. I haven't had a huge amount of time this week. They all dropped at once, which is definitely a new change for Disney Plus. This is the first time I think they've done that.
Yeah, so let's give the people the rundown real quick, guys, before we get into housekeeping. So the way that we're going to be covering Star Wars Visions is we will be recording each episode, and we will be doing the Mandalorian style.
By request.
By request. A lot of people wanted us to do that. We didn't do it for WandaVision. And then
Back to our OG format.
back to the OG format, we're going to be giving a recap, and then through the recap, we will be
Facts,
sprinkling
Easter eggs, personal opinions,
all
all
the
of that stuff.
right opinions, not
Oh, yeah.
personal. Let's get
Everything out of our mouths is definitely factual.
And these are going to be released weekly. As much as we want to binge all of them and put them out right now, it is in our best interest to release them
Yeah.
weekly format. I mean, that's how most podcasts are, and that's how we're going to continue to do it.
And we've also discussed that when there's something major that breaks news or something like that, we might record some extra episodes, and there might be something in addition to the weekly Visions episode for the next 9 weeks.
Yeah, and Visions is obviously new, and some of the runtimes are small, so some of these episodes might be shorter than others, but I think after we learned today, they actually might not end up being
12 minutes of
that short.
of episode, I'm sure, is going to be
We're finding a lot
twice
to talk
as
about.
long, twice as long episode.
Yeah, we're finding a lot to talk about for sure. Shout outs to our 100th episode.
Oh man,
That came out this past Sunday, yesterday.
we're recording in advance.
Yep.
I am assuming that it was a.
It's gonna be a banger. It's gonna be a banger,
See,
guys.
we use the same word.
We already know. It is what it is, guys. Housekeeping, really quick.
Sold
Okay.
out of shirts.
They sold. The public came. Okay, they handed us money. They said we love sitting here listening to two guys talking about Star Wars and drinks, and they gave us
Guys
money.
talking.
Guys, dude, did that make
We're
you
chopping
laugh?
it up. We're chopping it up. Yeah,
We're chopping it up. Hey, we're gonna take a caller right now. Yeah, so we had our 100th episode. Absolutely crazy. So this is the 101st episode of KonKon's Cantina podcast. So thank you very much. This episode is sponsored, of course, by our Patreons, guys. You can head over to KonKon's Cantina, patreon.com/KonKon's Cantina. And then, of course, all of the regular social medias, Instagram, Twitter. Instagram is where we are most active. We got to get on the TikTok train, dude.
Yeah,
It's just- it's-
I think it's
We gotta make
approaching
clips.
a necessity
Yeah,
for
we gotta make
for
clips.
people creating media.
Yeah, we
and
gotta.
content that you have to.
Content.
No,
Yeah. Guys.
you said that just in time.
I need a
Gotcha.
but that or something. Guys, please rate this podcast. If you enjoy the podcast, please leaving a 5-star review is what we seek. It very much helps, especially with Apple iTunes. I don't know.
Make sure it's Google. A nice, long-winded report or essay style review, please.
Yeah, if you do leave a written review, we will read it on the show. If you make it super funny, I will send you feet pics. So, I mean, if you're into that, you hit me up.
I'm going to write an essay.
Listen, I expect you to. The agenda of this episode, as you heard from the intro.
The next following 9 weeks.
And the next following 9 weeks, we are going to be talking about...
8 weeks if this is one of them. But that's fine.
You know, listen, it's math. It's hard. Is Star Wars Visions. But we will be talking about the first episode, The Duel. But before we do that, Justin...
Oh, it's time.
We are a Cantina podcast, so we're going to go into the Cantina right now.
Welcome to KonKon's Cantina. What are you having? But remember, no droids.
Justin,
Chihuahua.
You and me are both drinking Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Terramana tequila. This is the gold version. This is the Reposado. You know, I just saw a recent thing on TikTok about people saying how you shouldn't support these actors and stuff,
like
celebrities,
mainstream, big, like pumping their name behind stuff. Aviator Gin with Ryan Reynolds and
all that stuff.
What's the Dan Aykroyd's Crystal Skull vodka?
Oh, that's actual dog water. I know that's like a new saying in 2021 with the kids, and I still play some video games, so I feel like I have the ability to say things. That stuff is disgusting. It's really, really bad. But I do think the Terramana is pretty good, and the price point is not bad. This is $25.
It's a perfect price point.
It is, and
it doesn't have to be the best thing ever for that much.
Exactly. 40% by volume. I do wish it was a little bit higher, but I think that because the 40% for this one in particular, this is a bit, I'd say it's more of a sipping tequila.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people shoot tequila or they mix it. Totally get it. There is actually a lot of flavor in this one. There's some sweet, there's some earthy. I really like it. And for the price point, where are you on gold and silver? Do you have a preference?
My preference has drastically changed. So I think in the last 6 months, you and I both have slowly been inching deeper into tequilas. It went from like I do shots of it or I drink it in a margarita to now I'm actually appreciating some of the flavors and the changes between different types of tequilas and even mezcals, which is technically not a tequila but same family.
Yeah.
Like a scotch to a whiskey situation.
Yeah.
But in my younger days, it was silver or nothing. Like if I saw a gold or a Reposado, which I didn't even know what that word was, it was just gold or silver to me. I never, ever wanted the gold. To me, that was cheaper. As I am trying stuff now, the Reposados are delicious. I don't really know why I didn't like them. If it was just like
I feel like
party
growing up,
mode and that's all it was.
And I think that has a big thing. For whatever reason, when people drink gold tequila, it messes them up more. And I don't know if there is or isn't science behind that. It might just be something in people's head, but I've really started going towards the gold tequila. Something that's interesting about this bottle, it tells you where the agave is from. The agave, it's 100% blue Weber Highlands. I don't know what that means, I'm going to be honest, but it also the roasting that this was done in is in a brick oven, and its stills was a copper pot, and the way that it was aged was oak barrels. So
yeah, that's
I like
awesome.
some info on the back. For the price point, I really like it.
This is a great teaser for our Cantina Face-Off Tequila Challenge.
Yes. Tell the people real quick.
Because we are going to be doing the $30 Tequila Challenge, and this... I don't know what I'm having picked for me. You know what you have picked for you.
I do know, yeah.
This would have been a solid contender. Like, this would have been a great choice. It's that $25 price point where it's a delicious... You can sip it. I think that's a huge thing for tequila. Can you sip it?
Yeah.
Because for many, it's like an inexpensive tequila is like...
Yeah,
like
it's just
it gives you
gross.
that like cringe, and you get the little bit of the gag reflex if you shoot it. Don't get any of that. It's very smooth.
7 out of 10 for me.
I'm right on the same level. I would give that a 7 out of 10 because
Yeah.
I've had much better.
And
but
that's the
for
thing.
that price point,
the price.
that's solid.
Yeah.
I would love to have like a margarita try with this, or another tequila cocktail with this, because I've only drank it straight. I've never mixed anything with it.
I've done the Cantina Manarita.
Oh, you made that with this?
I made it with this, which is the mango cart beer. Super, super good. But we need to get into this episode, Justin. This is what the people
Let's
came
do
for.
it.
I mean, listen. Of course, they're gonna go
They
buy
came for-
Terramana
they came for
now
me.
that we.
That's what
they
she said.
They came for you. The Duel. Justin, tell us about the studio first. Let's talk about the studio, which I think both of us were a little bit shocked on how little information we found about the studios, because Disney kind of hyped up the studios a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this one, I mean, I read the info, read it off to you, and I didn't write it down, but I remember the studio,
Kamikaze.
and then Dauga.
Kamikaze Doga. Yeah, it's Doga.
Yeah.
Or it might be Dogura.
Maybe.
Because
I don't know.
there's... Anyway.
Dogura.
Dogura. No, seriously. It might,
Dogura-san.
Yeah, Dogura.
But they don't have a huge backlog of things that was super interesting that they've done.
Things that we didn't recognize. They are known for their Netflix Sounds of Fury.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Which is Sturgill Simpson, which... Guys, if you're not listening to Sturgill Simpson, you're living your life wrong.
Yeah, come on.
But Sturgill Simpson, he's a super cool kind of like classic country western, like Johnny Cash-esque vibe, and they created this full-on anime to his album, which is like way outside of the box, and they did some of that.
They are also known for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This was just the opening scene for that. Mm-hmm. They also call themselves a half-breed studio for blending 2D and CGI together to have their style of
and
animation.
You definitely see it in this. Like, this is a great blend of... It almost looks like something that somebody created on, like, Procreate on their iPad and animated it.
So, with what we've seen so far and with what animes you've seen, this really makes me realize that I wish we would have done an anime episode sooner, because then we could go through the repertoire of animes that we've seen.
We're going to. This is like
we have to now.
but
But how did you feel about the anime style? Yes or no?
I liked it.
Yeah, I also liked it.
I liked it. I love how the opening scene, you see the stars and there's a blue twinge to them.
Dude, it was
or
like
a twinkle of blue in the stars, and then as it pans down, it slowly fades into the film grain where you get the flecks of like old school film popping up, and then
it looked like film.
And then the whole thing is monochrome except for a few accent colors:
red, blue, green.
Lights,
lightsabers,
lightsabers,
and yellow.
blaster bolts. Are the only things that had color.
Things that produced power.
Yeah,
that's the only thing.
Yeah, that's
that
a great
had color.
way of putting it. Things that produce power. Yeah,
and that's such a cool thing too, because that helps separate the style that they were going for an old Japanese town that in the 14th century, 15th century, when samurai would have been the lords of everything, right? They didn't have electricity. The rifle had just been invented. Did you finish that samurai documentary on Netflix yet?
Not finished, but I've watched a lot of it.
You did watch? Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I also started the Pirates one.
Yeah, I loved the pops of color. I absolutely loved the anime style as well. Let's get into this recap.
Let's start a recap.
So, like you did say, I did enjoy. It was a very Star Wars intro.
Yes, very much.
We didn't have the ships, but we started in space with a moon of some sort, and we dragged down immediately to the planet. Ronan looks over a village. We pan through the city streets, and we see Ronan sipping on tea. The shopkeeper greets Ronan for the first time.
Shout out to our boy Ronan, who is voiced by the one and only DK himself.
DK from Tokyo
the
Drift.
all-time finest film in cinema history, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
Is that the best Fast and Furious film?
The first one will always be my favorite.
Okay.
Followed by Tokyo Drift.
For me, it goes Tokyo Drift, FF1, FF2.
There's nothing that was a better memory than rolling up at like fresh 16 in my turbocharged Eclipse, like just like making a hot mess of sound going into that movie theater, and then like
this was meant for me.
There was never more. I guarantee there has been no more speeding tickets than the first Fast and Furious with every teenager that left that movie.
Every teenager.
But that's crazy. It's DK.
It's DK.
Like,
He's the
his
voice
face
actor.
the second we looked it up. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah. And now that I see the actor himself,
Drift King, if you didn't know what that was.
Yeah, Drift King. Now that I see him, I want him to have the painting on the cheeks. I can actually see him as Ronan if Ronan was live action. And go ahead.
Which is super cool while you're looking that up, which is super cool that now we have 2 characters from Tokyo Drift that are going to be in the Star Wars universe.
Tell me that this actually doesn't look like him. There's that artist, and her name is escaping me, but I share her stuff all the time.
Oh yeah, it does. I can see it in his.
It literally
I can
looks
see it
like him
in his face. I mean, I could be just assigning that to it because now I know who it is.
Well, she did the same thing with Bad Batch. She took Tamora Morrison as inspiration and
morphed it
and
slightly.
morphed it, to make it look like them. Of course, my camera doesn't want to focus now. Oh, there we go. Okay, back to the recap. A giant Land Cruiser cuts through the town's woods and ends up on the main street
with some of the coolest sound effects immediately. The sound design in this.
Phantom Menace when the big cruisers have landed on Naboo.
Like the tank, the big gunship.
ILM had to give them the soundboard. Dude, they're like, here's all the Dropbox files.
Yeah, like they had everything.
They had everything.
Like, do your drawings and use these sounds.
Even the droid, when we hear Ronan's droid for the
R2.
completely.
Which his name is R5D54. So it's another R5. Shout out to
R5, who Obi-Wan never cared about and was murdered brutally. These troops. Sorry, I lost my place. Okay, this cruiser is a troop transport. Troops exit the cruiser walking past an unknown black-clad figure. These troops are from the other side of the mountain, bandits, if you will, the last remnants of the war.
Which is a cool fact.
Yeah, talk about this. This is really cool.
I shouldn't say fact, but it's a cool point because it's hard to nail down the timelines.
Yes.
So,
and I guess we should say this isn't canon at first.
Yeah.
Which that could change.
It could change.
It could change.
Changed it plenty of times.
Because this is in the future. And
so if you actually look at their armor, none of them have a full set of armor. Everything is kind of samurai stylized. But they have buckets, and they have buckets. Some are full, some are tops, some are bottoms, some are cut up. But there is a mixture of both Imperial stormtroopers as well as First Order. So by that, if you're going by a canon timeline, this has to be sometime post the Skywalker saga.
Has to be.
Because the First Order is in ruins.
Yeah.
Because it's after the war. But it's super cool because I love how some of them are just using the bottom, like, grill, gas masky looking part. Some of them are just using the top visor part. Some have, like, a chest piece. Some have only, like, abdomen armor.
And I really wish we would have looked up the kind of the styles, because you had the samurai that had the big bucket, like the helmet, which is the Darth Vader.
The Vader
inspired. Yeah. Well, Vader inspired of. You get what I'm saying? And then they have the half mask, which is like the demon. You know what? Once again, I don't know the history, but we've all seen pictures of samurai, and it was just very, very cool. This was just the most. To me, this was like
Yoshimitsu, like demon, something like that
from Tekken.
No, but I think the word definition.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, something. To me, when I think of Star Wars, original trilogy, right? The purest form of Star Wars, if you will. Mandalorian is a very close second. This one might.
Well, it's so Kurosawa.
Exactly.
It's like the inspiration of Star Wars. One of the things that Lucas pulled from.
Yep.
Like, this is like, it's the roots of what Star Wars was pulled from and created from. In the character design, in the fighting style, and in the code of ethics, everything. So it's awesome to see it go back to this, especially when they're armoring up with combining both things together.
As all the villagers are round up in the square, a young boy stands up and identifies himself as the chief of the village. The guards save the villagers for now. A Trandoshan, a Dug, a RA-7 protocol droid, and a Gran start to attack the bandits. As a fight breaks out, an Infant's Nest style music starts to play as the black-robed female appears at the top of the troop transport.
Did you like her high heels?
I did, and so you immediately said that
It took me out of universe.
It took you out, but
especially because it doesn't seem Star Wars. Yes, I know there's a reference that you're going to say. It doesn't seem Star Wars, and it doesn't seem samurai. Like, if it would have been like those wooden shoes with the tall, elevated wooden shoe situation,
yes,
that would have been better for me.
And
I don't know what those are called. Somebody Japanese, please tell me.
They're called clacks.
No, those are the B1 battle droids.
Those are the B1.
Oh, those are clankers.
Those are clankers. Yeah, clankers. I didn't mind the high heels because
it was a millisecond. It's not a huge thing, but
it was a millisecond. And you know what? It kind of it's kind of a funny detail. She never takes off the high heels, and she proceeds to fight him in very high skill with the high heels the whole time. So the reference that I was going to make is, I'm 99% sure, and it might be my imagination, but I'm 99% sure we see Kira with high heels in Solo movie.
Like towards the end of it, where she's in the party situation, and
we also see
she's walking around with Vision, like we don't know who he is.
Yeah. And we also see in Revenge of the Sith, when they're going to the opera, there's a lot of females walking up the stairs, and
I'd like to look back.
I could only assume that they're wearing high heels. That's something that if it was adapted, like shoe style is not something I'm going to have a problem with. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
but if we're wearing
it was more of like if you're portraying yourself as this warlord, which is all we know at that point.
Yeah.
That it was, I don't know, it was just weird. And it took me out of the vibe for a millisecond, not for long term.
Yeah.
But like everything else was so black and white, monochrome, old school, samurai with this little mixture of sci-fi thrown into it. The high heels were a weird modern thing to throw in.
I get that. As both sides start to fight, neither will surrender. The Sith displays her odd lightsaber.
Umbrella lightsaber.
The umbrella lightsaber. And she then...
Opinions? Opinions on the umbrella?
I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah, I liked it. And I liked it for this very reason. She uses it to block a flurry of lasers. So we have the A7 droid, which...
Very Sith Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Where they would hold it straight out and just spin crazy and block a whole bunch of crap.
And I think that I would legitimately hate it if we didn't already see the Inquisitors do that in Rebels. Because even when they do it in Rebels, it's not
a little. I'm like, all right,
because they're not blades. Like we know how
they're
lightsabers
weightless.
work.
They don't have gravity. They don't have mass. They're pure energy. So why are you floating through space by spinning it?
Hey, whatever. It works.
It's the Force.
It's the Force. We can't explain it. Ronan droid is destroyed because Ronan's droid is destroyed because of excess blaster fire. Flying down with her saber like an Inquisitor, like we just talked about, the female Sith uses her force powers to pull the Trandoshan commander to her, and he kills him.
She looks very Middle Eastern or Indian in her design.
She does look dark-skinned, yeah.
She's got the shaw that like kind of stops at her eyes, and then she's got the mask, which looks kind of like a Middle Eastern.
Now I get what you're saying.
And then she also has, it's not a dot, but it's like
she has a
diamond shape on her forehead, and it looks very Middle Eastern or Indian.
Did you notice how they highlighted her eyes to show that she was Sith?
I didn't notice that. Like just like underneath.
It's a very well, to me, I could be wrong because they weren't yellow, and we did see yellow in this episode, but her eyes also aren't producing light. It's not something that's powered, but to me, her eyes are very clearly outlined to show that she is Sith, and she's even identified as Sith by the guardians of the town.
Yeah, the second they see the red saber.
They're like, oh, she's a Sith, you know. Let's talk about the Commander Trandoshan. Gone too soon.
He's one of my favorite characters of the entire thing, man.
Gone too soon.
His character design was one of the coolest, like taking something that you know and you can still recognize immediately as a Trandoshan.
Yeah, dude.
But animating it up. Like for, I don't know, like I just created that term. They animated up, like not animated, but anime stylized the Trandoshan in such a cool way. I
loved how they seamlessly put his left-handed broadsword together where it almost looked like his arm was the sword, but if you look closely, it's a very, very big hilted sword. Very, very cool
Yeah.
character design.
Rip
Doug.
that guy.
Yeah, rip that guy. My dude got ganked real fast.
Doug's still piloting crap.
Dude, the Doug was in a protocol droid that was flying around.
Yeah.
That he had swords attached to the arms.
Like katanas. Like, bring that out. We're assuming they would
straight up
have
katanas.
to be vibroblade katanas
Yeah.
for the Star Wars universe, but they're
They were
hand-to-hand melee
katanas.
weapons, which,
Yeah.
like, awesome.
Yeah, it was super sick.
This is delicious.
Yeah, you're digging it. I know. I'm drinking it fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
To continue with the recap,
That droid got wrecked.
he got wrecked. Ronan approaches the Sith. The Sith then attacks Ronan.
Not before claiming that she is not just a Sith, but she says she is a Dark Lord.
Yeah, Darth. Yeah, she
So
does
that,
say she's
that would
Dark
be
Lord.
a Darth.
Yeah,
That would not be just like, I'm a Sith practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
She claims that she is a Dark Lord, which is unique.
formerly Maul, now just her. Formerly Darth, now just Maul. I
And
don't know that. Yeah,
The other cool part too that we, after watching for like the second or third time, was when she's doing that part. If you looked into the background, there was a straight up Vader mural
yeah, it
on
was like
one of the buildings.
It looked like Disney Plus was not allowing us to pause it really well.
Freaking out.
Yeah. Anyway, it looked like the mural of the first movie.
Yeah,
like the poster.
It was cool. It was like his a outline of his helmet and some stuff in the background.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
The female Sith attacks Ronan. He stops her saber using the Force. Quote,
Such a cool moment.
"So you're a Jedi? It's been a long time since I've killed a Jedi." Ronan then reveals his red lightsaber. The remaining
Best
guards,
sound ever.
as you
when he
heard in the
draws.
beginning,
It's like a mixture between like the
It was-
unstable Kylo.
Yeah.
This is what it sounds like to me. It's a mixture between the unstable Kylo sound and Fulcrum's saber sound kind of together.
It also, to me, it sounded like some sort of an engine powering up or powering down.
Yeah,
like
almost like the pod racer sound effects that they've used or something.
So there was
Great
definitely
sound.
some
The sound design in this episode is just
second to none.
awesome.
Yeah, and is that not something that's always been so Star Wars?
Yeah.
Sounds we've never
Yeah.
seen, sounds we've
Sounds
never seen.
like subconsciously they're familiar to you, but
Yeah.
like they're done in a whole new way.
Yeah, it was super sick. The remaining guards of the town are taken down. The female Sith and Ronan continue their fight, taking it into a river on a floating log.
Oh,
How did you feel? What?
We skipped over the amazing part where she uses the Force to like float her hood off.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I forgot about this.
Like he had this awesome Force moment of like catching the saber with the Force, and then like she like just removes her whole cloak and hood with the Force
it
and
goes
reveals
away.
her hair.
Yeah, she reminded me. I told you.
Boondock Saints.
Well, no, that's the
Oh, that's
kid.
the kid. That's the kid. That's the kid.
He reminds me of the dreaded kid from Boondock Saints, but she reminds me of Cynthia, who is the Barbie doll of
Rugrats.
Angelica Pickles, Rugrats. That's the hair,
the wavy like.
Yeah, it was wild. I don't know why it reminded me of that, but how did you feel about the floating log? I thought it was super tropey, but it worked.
I didn't like or dislike it specifically. I did feel like if they were both
My first reaction,
Force users, they should have not even remotely been phased by being on that thing.
That's a good point. My first reaction was, it's a very Hollywood type thing, and kind of how like the high heels took you out of it. The floating log took me out of it
Like
a little bit.
1950s cheesy TV show.
I was waiting for it to start spinning.
like they were outrun each other.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for a little bit. But the bandit commander then comes to the bank and confirms that they have taken the city. At this very moment, the teapot that Ronan noted in the beginning of the episode begins to whistle. Activating R5D54, he then flies through the city, revealing a volley of Iron Man type
Apparently
rockets.
Stark Tech.
Yeah.
Like Stark Tech is
getting out of hand again.
multiverses.
Yeah.
Come on, dial it back more.
Ruining everything. Our two red-bladed anti-heroes continue their fight. Ronan finds refuge underneath a waterfall. Our Sith female then is tricked by Ronan.
Which you brought up was an amazing
This scene in particular,
an amazing concept or like awareness of her surroundings to then use the log and force kind of pull it down to become a dam and block the waterfall for her to go through.
it was cool because what she did first, and we've talked so much about sound, is she tries to slice through the water with her saber,
Oh,
and it
yeah,
makes
yeah,
the
that's right.
exact same sound that we hear when Darth Maul hits the energy field in the
Phantom Menace.
the power core
Yeah.
in Naboo, and they're in that, you know, that energy field and whatnot. So just like you said, she uses the Force and she splits the waterfall, and it was so cool to see the perspective of her facing the waterfall, and then to have the perspective from inside the waterfall as the water splits, and she's just standing there waiting. At this point, her face has been revealed. He's cut her mask off.
Yeah.
I also liked that. It's a very you know, like a fencing thing. You know, we see people's faces get cut a little bit,
Right.
you know, in a sword fight and stuff. I really liked that.
I was waiting for her to do the.
How dare you make me bleed my own blood? Yeah, that whole thing. Yeah, it was really good. She's tricked by Ronan, and of course she is then slayed
By his second saber, which was cool because I would love to get a close up of that hilt because it almost seemed like a saber staff. Because if you notice that second saber that he used, it was like twice as big as his other saber, and I don't know, like give me more of these cool new hilts. I want to see what these hilts look like up close.
This is what we talked about, and this was my theory when it came to his lightsaber. I never saw an activation switch or button
that's
on
right.
his
We were
hilt.
talking about this.
And obviously it's meant for effect of having a sheath, and it's a katana. He's a samurai. I get that. But I genuinely think that his lightsabers are constantly activated.
Yeah.
Because even what we're going to get to when he unsheathes it in front of the town, he, just like in every anime, he kind of pushes it forward with his thumb, and it's already on. And it was the same thing, and that would also explain the sound when he pulls it out the first time, is it's all that energy being unleashed, not being
It's
activated.
being withheld into that.
Exactly. Then that's what I
makes,
love that idea.
He's not a Jedi by his own admission.
Yeah.
So it would stand to reason that he didn't craft the saber.
Yeah.
Like you could assume that much, especially with you see later all the other kyber crystals that he has collected.
He's got to be trained by somebody though.
Yeah, he could be definitely trained by somebody.
Him
but
catching that blade.
It almost stands to reason that like he has some form of a lightsaber, but it's not like a actual Jedi's constructed lightsaber that is as refined.
Yeah.
This could be a more raw, like they can control
just
the power.
like Kylo's. Remember, Kylo's is cross-hilted because it was cracked and he had to vent the power elsewhere.
Yeah, it's like it's a raw form. Like they have it, but he has no way to turn that power on and off. So he had to craft a sheath instead. I love that. That's headcanon entirely.
Yeah,
but I love that idea.
And it's something that we've talked about this so many times. Is there's so many things, and we're gonna get into it in the second episode of Visions. Is that there's so many things happening inside of the world of Star Wars that I'm really excited for the future of Star Wars, because I feel that we're heading in a direction where we really are stepping away from the 40 years of the main story that we've had.
Yep.
And this to me was 100% Star Wars. It's one of the things that has felt the most Star Wars to me ever.
Since Mandalorian.
New Age Star Wars, and I'm super excited. And let's finish this. So, Ronan returns to the village. The chief, aka the little boy from Boondock Saints, thanks Ronan, calling him one of the Jedi of legends of old. So once again, we have this idea where people, exactly,
it has to be way after the Skywalker saga.
And
what happened to all them if that's the case?
We used the World in Between Worlds to erase all that.
Yeah. I'm in.
We fixed it again. Here we go. He calls him a Jedi of old. He then reveals his crimson blade. I love the timing of this. Oh, you must be a Jedi.
Like,
bruh.
Nah, bro.
Bruh, please. Showing the crimson blade. He cuts open...
They all freak out for a second.
They do. Everyone gasps. He cuts open the saber of the fallen Sith. He then takes the kyber crystal and gives it to the chief and tells him, take this. It wards off evil.
After revealing like a old school jewelry salesman. He's like an old jewelry salesman of like full X's.
Want to buy a watch? Yeah.
Like, I got some kyber crystals for you.
Got some kyber crystals. Yeah. I didn't count.
All red. No other colors.
And it was a very General Grievous moment for me.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Another addition to my this will be a fine, that's what.
So
yeah.
So here's a cool point. I literally just thought of. What do you think are the chances that they referenced the Jedis of old? He says, "I am no Jedi," but they are obviously
Unfortunately, I am not a Jedi.
There are Dark Lords of the Sith.
Yeah.
What if like the Jedi are like all but extinct, yet Sith
Yet again
are not? Hence why they're all red crystals, because he's killing. There's still Force users.
Yeah, clearly.
Plethora of Force. Now you got me saying plethora. So much.
Would you say that I have a plethora of kyber crystals?
Yes, Hefe.
Yes,
I would
Ronan.
say that as a player.
Yes,
Yeah.
Ronan. Tell me, what was that news thing you found talking about this episode specifically? That this...
Oh, there's going to be a book in October. There is going to be a book continuing Ronan's story.
Okay, already love that.
It had a word before it that I didn't know what it was, so I don't know if it's like a...
Anthology or...
No, it was like a blaze or some weird book. So I don't know if that means it's going to be like a manga, or if it's going to be a novel, what it's going to... But there is more...
Well, you would have known the word manga, so if
it was a word that I didn't recognize before it said book. But in October there will be another piece of content in written media in some fashion of Ronan and continuing his story.
Here we go. Me and you kind of were talking before we started recording this, and we were like, man, how do we rate this? And we might change our rating depending on later episodes that we see.
Yeah.
Better yet, do you want this story to continue?
Ronan's?
We don't need to give a rating. We both agree it was awesome, right? We don't need
we
a
gotta
9.
have more of Ronan.
We don't need a 9 out of 10. Do you want to see
Oh, you know
more?
what we didn't even talk about?
What?
Who the freaking Sith bandit leader's voice is.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Lucy
hang on.
Liu.
Let me finish,
Okay.
and then and then. So, do you want this story to continue? Do you want more Ronan?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, same.
I need more of this timeline. I need more of
the
this
art style.
I need
everything.
more. Yeah, everything about this is like a please continue.
Now talk about the Sith, the voice actor.
Yeah. So
for
this
her.
whole time we've been talking about the Sith. It's Lucy Liu, which if like the quickest thing that comes to mind for me is
Charlie's.
Charlie's Angels. Yeah. I mean Lucy Liu's been in a ton of stuff. A lot more, I would say, in the 2000s-y era.
You know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb here because I really don't think this is a coincidence. When they picked Bo-Katan, of course, the Katie Sackhoff. Mm-hmm. When they picked Katie Sackhoff
for the voice work or for the
voice work,
okay,
you cannot tell me that there was a critical thinking
character design behind what she looks like.
You can't. There's no way because when you go into this is what the character looks like, cartoon like, we can find somebody like the voice doesn't matter. We just need somebody that looks like her. Katie Sackhoff looks like her. Voice was also awesome. She had acting experience. Then we look at this female Sith. We look at Ronan. Both of these actors, I can see Lucy Liu being her, and I can see DK being Ronan.
Yeah.
Not on purpose. I'm telling you. Or, I mean, it is done on purpose. I really think
thought put into
there's thought put into it. Yeah, for sure. Final thoughts.
I love this episode. I want more of it. Yeah. If I had to give it a 1 through 10, I would probably give it it's one of the first episodes. Yeah. Right now, it's like an 8 or a 9, easy.
It's a 9 for me, for sure. It's a 9.
Yeah.
There's so many more people like the Trandoshan. I want more of him. Even though I guess we don't know if he died. I'm assuming he died, but
the droid was cool. The Dug was like it was cool seeing everything. All the different species, but stylized in this way.
Oh, we didn't talk about the shopkeeper.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The shopkeeper. Did you have that written down? I don't have it.
Yes, I do. I just put my phone away because I thought we were done. The shopkeeper, the Celestin shopkeeper it's the same species that we see in Return of the Jedi. Most notably, the co-pilot with Lando when they're piloting the Falcon to go into the second Death Star. Yeah, that's like the most notable species of that use example. So.
Guys.
Okay,
bro, we are going into the second episode, which I am super hyped about. It's been getting some hate online. I don't care. It was amazing. Guys,
turned me around.
Listen, guys, thank you very much for listening to this episode of KonKon's Cantina. Come back for more Visions content. Go listen to our 100th episode, guys.
Yes.
Thank you very much for supporting us, and we will see you guys next time.
Go to Toll Road if you haven't been there.